Hi everybody, it's your boy String Bean coming back at you with another upload. It's been a minute and I do apologize. I've been super busy. But I wanted to come and do an accessory and gear inspection. I wanted to take you along with me. But before we get into all that, if you've not subscribed, please consider doing so. And hit that notification bell to be notified of my uploads. Now, if you want live streaming and panels, live music, and artisan interviews, go down into the description box below and click on the Mountain Bushcrafters Alliance YouTube channel link. That's me. All that goes on over there. But today I want to talk to you about a few things you may or may not be aware of, things you need to be aware of when it comes to wear and tear. First and foremost, let's talk about the Capo. Now, I'm not just talking about Kaiser in particular. I'm talking about Capos in general. We're not going to talk about the uses. We're going to talk about where to store your Capo. A lot of times on the road, on the stage, roadhouses and shows, I see people with big, nice Gibson guitars, big, nice Martin guitars with all that pearl inlay on that headstock. And they'll have a Capo clamped right over top of that pearl inlay. That's okay, you can get by with that for a while, but after a while it's going to wear off that finish on that headstock and start to get into that inlay. It will damage and dull that inlay, especially a Martin or Gibson that is an heirloom to be handed down. So where do you store your Capo when you're not using it? Front pocket, back pocket, or in your accessory bag. See, storing it on the headstock is kind of like the equivalent to having a big, nice grand piano with the key covers open all the time. That artificial light will turn those keys yellow, as will this do the same thing to inlay. Won't take it long to do it either. Now, I've had this Capo probably about right at 20 years, and I'm guilty. Left it on an old beater guitar, and over time, I've lost tension in my spring. So when I use it, it sounds like I've just got my fingers laid over top of the string. It just sounds like a deadening sound. So it has to be replaced. And I'm kind of sentimental to this Capo. Had I stuck it in my pocket or left it on the desktop when I was at live streams or on the road in my accessory bag or my back pocket when on stage, it's just as easy to get it out of my back pocket as it is off the headstock of that guitar. I probably could have got many more uses out of this Capo. Next thing I look for is the wire right here where this should sit, a lot of times right up against where the fretboard and neck are joined. Don't never just pick it up enough just to get it by the strings and scoot it. Take it off and position it. Because like with this one, it's got a big burr right there. This is wore out. It's about a brand new one, but it's in the box. Because you can tell this is the same brand. Look at the jaw difference. Too much slack. So where to store your Capos? Front pocket, back pocket, or an accessory bag on the stage somewhere close and handy. Back pocket's the best place in the world, unless you're sitting. Put it on your amp. Put it somewhere. Don't clamp it on something because you're weakening the springs on it. And don't clamp it on a headstock because you're wearing the finish and the inlay off of your heirloom Martin or Gibson. That don't go on my Gibson. No. Same thing with your toners. Use them. Get your guitar up to tune. Take them off. Put them in your pocket. Put them in the accessory bag. String winders. A lot of people trust the electric string winder tuner deals. I do not. I'm still old school. and a peg puller. Don't use a quarter. This has got a peg puller on it. That's probably the best one, I feel, for burrs or anything that could damage that saddle or that bridge. Damage your pins, you've got a flat, pretty much. Same thing as tires on a car. Anyway, don't use a quarter. Don't use pliers. Don't use a puller. You're damaging. See how that don't fit? Them's high-rise pins. I'm gonna talk about them in just a minute. That don't fit. That fits. A nice puller. Don't use a quarter. I've seen a lot of people use quarters. Now, bridge pins, like tires on a vehicle, they wear out. They don't do what they're supposed to do as far as vibration, as far as resonating your sound. And I'll show you why. You need to check these. Let me find him. There it is. I don't know if you can see it or not. I don't know if the camera's going to focus good or not, but these are broke. These are gone. It's come out of my old guitar. No way in this world I'd put them in my Gibson. Even though they are pretty. Abalone dot inlay. High rise. Still not going to put them in my Gibson. If you need to change your bridge pins, you need to inspect them when you change your strings. You look at them close. Change as needed. And if you do change them, when you do change them, make sure they interchange with your make and model of guitar. Don't use something because somebody said, oh, it makes the guitar sound so much better, and it makes it resonate so much better, and makes it come alive, and makes it more crisp. If you've got a $4,000 or $5,000 guitar, for God's sakes, use what it calls for. Something that will interchange. You wallow out them holes, and you're stuck. You're stuck. Use what it calls for. Even down to your holders. Let me show you something right here real quick. You've got a big Gibson SG. You've got a 60s model Fender. You've got a big brand new Sector. You've got a big brand new Gibson J45 like I've got. I'm thankful for. I'm not going to hang him on that Jasper right there. That foam, you need to look at your holders, your guitar stands. That foam tends to wear out, crack. Metal on wood ain't good. Understand what I'm saying? Take you a little bit of guitar polish, spritz a little bit on a little clean cloth, and wipe that down and roll that over a quarter turn. Get that into good stuff. Now I can use that. I'm not afraid to use that. You see what I'm saying? Steel on wood ain't good. A little bit of tipped advice. When you take your strings off your guitar, doesn't hurt to spritz down a nice clean cotton cloth. I never got that out. Don't spritz that on your guitar, for God's sakes. Spritz that on the cloth, then apply it to your guitar. Wipe your guitar down. You don't have to baptize it, just enough to get the fingerprints off. I am OCD about my Gibson, I'm going to tell you. I guess you can tell by now. Video being long-winded. But you can also use that on that. Lubricate that a little bit, because that's touching your guitar. You don't want to use a solvent, Armor All or Windex or furniture polish or whatever. You want to use something that's going to be applicable to your guitar, because your guitar's touching that. And over time, that will give way and split, bust, fall apart. You can buy the tubing, change it out if you can't turn it over. Last but not least, the strings. Looky here, all kinds of them too. Depending on how much you play, I don't see one. I think these are pretty decent. Depending on how much you play, I make a habit of writing down how often I change strings. That's just my habit. I'm OCD. But when you get down to that steel core, inside those upper strings, 4th, 5th, and 6th, there's a steel core inside there. That steel core will eat away at them frets. It will. It'll do it quickly. So depending, and I don't know how often you play, I try to change mine once a month. I go live. I play every day. I should change them more than that. But don't wait until you get flat spots in your strings, because what you're doing, you're damaging your guitar. You're eating away at them frets. But now I use bronze wound. It just depends on, guess, what you use. But don't wait until you get flat spots. I need a fret job done on your big Gibson, or your big Martin, or your Taylor, or your Gretsch, your Sector, your Fender. Those are just some things that I do. I inspect my gear. I inspect my strap. You get up on stage and you go to play, and your strap breaks, or your connector button on your guitar is loose, or whatever the case may be, and you drop that big SG, you have got some serious damage. Drop that Gibson, drop that Martin, your heart has failed you. You got a $5,000 Gibson guitar and it hits the stage, your heart has just about failed you there. I check my picks, I check my straps, I check it from top to bottom. And finally, last but not least, if you've got an amp, under saddle amp, that requires a battery. My Gibson does. It has a LL bags, I believe, is what's in it. It uses a 9-volt square battery to operate the tone and volume. When you take those strings off, inspect that battery. Make a note in your accessory bag when you change that battery. When you need to change that battery, or if you just want to go ahead and change that battery, because batteries will corrode inside of those connectors and cause damage. Inspect that battery that powers that preamp, whether it's on the top or inside. Mine's on the inside. But if you leave batteries in anything over any length of time, they will corrode in contact, cause corrosion. Check those batteries. Check your straps, check your strings, check your bridge pins. Make sure that you're good to go for a good show. This is your boy String Bean. Until next time, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, if it's helped you any at all, if you're going right now to check your accessory bag for the things that I told you, give this video a thumbs up. But next video, we're going to talk about the many uses of a capo. There's more uses to a capo than just clamping it on your guitar and getting a different tone. Be looking for that video. But until next time, play on. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. This guitar had been hanging on the wall for months. Anytime you store a guitar, however you store your guitar, if you're not going to play it for a week or so, downtone it. Take the pressure off of the truss rods, the neck, the saddle, the bridge pins, the whole 9 yards. Just downtone it. You can always tune it back up.